So good to see everybody. Thank you for coming to the live stream today.
Good
Okay.
morning.
I want to say hi to our YouTube audience as well. And we want to thank you for joining us in the sacred energy of Circle this morning. Today, you're going to be able to watch our evidential mediums as they connect with people who have crossed over to the other side and deliver messages from those people. And our hope is that by watching our mediums at work, you'll come to understand that the loved ones you may have lost are in fact still with you. So can you please join us as we open with a prayer? Holy Father, Mother God, thank you for allowing us to come together today in service of spirit. Please help us to open all of our senses, physical and spiritual, so that we can receive your messages without interference from our own minds. We humbly ask that you make this circle an uplifting and joyous experience for everyone in attendance. Please ask the spirits who recognize the voices in this room to join us this morning so that we will know that they watch over us, love us, and protect us still. And please allow us to deliver the information presented by Spirit with grace and compassion, in complete trust and respect of your infinite wisdom. Amen. All right, and we got a nice small group today. So how about if we go, let's say 15 minutes max, okay? If you want to cut it short, that's fine, but that'll leave us time for discussion in between readings, if that sounds good to everybody. And whenever anybody gets a link, just go ahead and hop on in there, okay?
Okay. For the sake of getting going, I'll jump in there, Carol.
Thanks, Tammy.
Okay. I feel like I'm maybe with Rini, but please, everybody, everybody listen, please. So I do feel that I have someone here from the maternal side. She feels younger, and Rini, I know that your mother and sister are in spirit. Um, she actually doesn't feel like your mother. Maybe she's close. She might be your sister, but the first thing I'm being shown actually are flowers, and so she's picking flowers that feel like they're very natural is the word I want to use, and it's almost like it's almost like picking. I want to say that the flowers feel natural, like they would like a daisy, or nothing exotic. So something very natural. But I'm being drawn to like kind of the type of flower that ends as its petals end in a point, and so that just seems important. And so she picks those. She's got a bouquet that looks like a child would put together, where one's kind of flopping over, because they squeezed it too hard, or they picked it, in such a way that happened. And she's handing it to you. And I also feel um, that with this, I feel like she's bringing these flowers into other parts of youth. And whether it's your youth, probably maybe both of your youth. But I feel like things were done with these flowers more than just picking them and maybe putting them in a glass of water or in a vase or something. I feel like somehow like they were used for like crafts or, um, whether they were put. I know we used to put them in between wax paper and iron them.
Yeah, we
So,
did.
okay, because I'm feeling
Yeah.
it's really taking me back. I'm thinking, I really liked that. And
Yeah.
okay, so you would understand that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So she's also drawing my attention to it's a heart, but it's not just any heart. It's a heart that looks like it's got depth to it. So it's like a 3D heart. And
Okay.
I almost feel like it's a pillow or, something that was like handmade. And the texture is feeling actually kind of like it slightly has a sheen to it.
Okay.
But it does feel like a heart, and it does feel like maybe it was sewn, that it was a type of fabric. So do you remember something like that? If you don't, it's okay.
I do have a heart pillow, and it is significant.
Okay, great. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Okay. All right. So she's bringing my attention to that. And now I know it's your sister because now she's starting to, because I know she's fun. And so she takes that
Well,
pillow.
I have two sisters.
Oh, you have two
And I think
sisters
this is
there.
the other one that doesn't come in often.
Okay, well, this is okay. That's great. That's great for me
Okay.
because I will describe the one that's here, and
Okay.
uh, and I think she's one that I've met before and who is lots of fun. And I'll tell you what she's just done with this heart pillow, is like suddenly now its insides are like floating in the air because she's kind of throwing it all over the place and like jumping on a bed and throwing, but it's specifically that heart pillow. But I
Okay.
almost feel like it's being done like spreading the heart, like spreading love and so, in
Yeah.
such a way
Yeah.
that so yeah, I'm not sure if something like that was ever actually done or whether she's just showing me um the fun in that and the fun and like spreading the inside of a heart,
Mhm.
so she
Yeah,
may
I
just be
understand.
showing me that.
Mhm.
So let's just see what else she is showing me. So now she's bringing me actually to, oh, thank you. That's okay. We'll see what this is about. So now she's bringing me to, it's a twig and she's breaking it into pieces. And I feel like now we're counting. And you know how when you count something with paper, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you do a cross, 5. 1,
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5. But I feel like she's laying these sticks out like that. So I feel like she's using these sticks as a counter, for some reason. Um, it's not totally clear to me why she would be doing this. Okay. So she's not only using it as a counter, but now it's like she's making little things with these twigs, almost like small little designs. Like it looks like one is getting ready to be like a cute, like a 3D cone, like a 3D pyramid. But I feel like we're making little um, kind of stick shapes, but they're 3D. Would you understand this? Because I'm feeling from
When
you.
you first started, I thought I understood. Now I'm not understanding quite what she's
Okay.
wanting me to.
In particular, one looks like a pyramid, but it's with little
I
sticks.
understand pyramid, so that would make
Okay.
sense.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So let me, okay. So then a name I want to just put out there because it just came in, two names actually. And what's interesting is I know somebody with these two names, but that person is living and I don't know why that would come into this reading, but the two names that I want to just bring forward are Sally and Baker. So like a Sally Baker, but those names may not go together. But we've got a Sally name that, I want to
I
bring
can
forward.
take Sally and I can take Baker, but they're not
Okay,
the same.
not together. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, great. Sally and Baker. Okay, great. Thanks so much. So
Mhm.
would Sally or Baker be living people?
Yes, both.
Both. Okay, so let me just,
Baker's actually a farm close to me
okay.
that I visit.
Okay, okay, great. So I just want to be sure, there's no message for Sally. Um,
Okay.
is this
Okay.
somebody your sister would have known?
This sister, no, the other sister may. I'm not sure.
Okay, in that case, I doubt she's bringing a message forward, and rather what she's doing is just bringing forth evidential information about the farm and would Sally also know about this farm, the Baker farm?
No.
Okay, so they're totally separate things. So let me just lean into her for just a minute, pull her a little bit closer and see what else she would like to. Um, okay, thank you. She's so funny. She's really funny because right now, while as I was kind of going off on my somewhat of a tangent there, she was filling water and putting water in balloons. And I suspect we're getting ready to have a little water balloon fight here. Um, so would that be a memory that in
I
your,
did with her, but other sisters, yes.
okay, all right, thank you. Let's just okay. Okay. Oh, that's fun. So would this sister of yours, would she have done a little bit of drawing? She feels like she's might be sketching something.
She may, but I don't know. I was too young.
You were too young. Okay. Because I feel like she's and for that split second, I felt like she was sketching you. And so but if you would have been too young to know whether that was something that happened. So let me just let her bring me something else here. Okay, she wants to talk about this farm or a farm, and she's we do, and this I'm getting this feeling that she's showing me something that has to do with a farm, but I'm not sure if it goes with the Baker farm or not. But I'm seeing I'm getting an old-fashioned vibe, an old-fashioned carriage, not a carriage, but like a wagon and a horse.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there is one there.
Okay, thank you. Um, okay, thank you. Okay, and she's also showing me that this would be something that like in the fall they might do hay rides and something
Yeah,
like that. Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Okay. And she's showing me this that almost feels like a memory. Um, Not clear whether it was because if she was substantially older than you, um, but I'm feeling like there was kind of playfulness that there was at some point where you are on a hayride, maybe with her, but there was playfulness. I don't see a lot of people in the ride, but I see like one. I feel like there are two kids in there, and one's like rolling around in the hay.
Okay.
Do you have some memory of
Not with her. I
not with
didn't
her?
get to do much with
Oh,
her.
okay. What about just rolling around in the hay? 'Cause she's giving me this
Oh
rolling in
yeah,
the
I
hay.
understand that.
Okay. It's just rolling in the hay. Okay. Um, okay, so now she's starting to talk to me because I'm stopping to listen, which I kind of hadn't been doing. And she's saying that you were a true believer from the get-go.
Yeah.
She says she was a true believer from the get-go. And and then she says, and she got up and went. But I think like probably you kind of took off and in all of this. And oh, that's really interesting. She's saying that you had a really good group of girlfriends and that she actually envied that,
Oh,
which is making me think that she was a little bit more of a loner, a little bit more.
no, not at all.
She wasn't a loner.
No, no.
I wonder why she's saying that she envied that group of friends.
I can tell you something about that at the end.
Okay. All right. So because that was pretty clear. Okay, let's just see here. Um, Yeah, she's saying they were pretty, they were bright, they did a lot of fun things. It's like she's saying it's like they didn't really have worries, they didn't, which is making me think of, older siblings, often, or I don't know, somehow they're closer to their parents. And so they kind of take on some of that feeling of responsibility. But, and that's the way she's making me feel, just that there was an innocence, that she was envious of, like a kind of a more of a, younger innocence that she admired, actually, is the word that's coming through. It's kind of admired, a little bit more than envied. It's more admired. And she's saying that that she wasn't so much of like a book type person. She was a doer. She really liked doing
Yes,
things.
she did. Yes, she did.
That she was like an experience-based learner, that that's how she learned, by getting in there and doing it. She says she thinks she had a beautiful life,
Mhm.
that she doesn't regret anything. No regrets. She told people she loved that she loved them.
Mhm.
And she feels like she did her best in this life, and that she's still doing that, and that she, kind of loves being around you. And then she's very funny, because she said, "I'll support her until the day I die." And then she starts bursting into laughter. Okay. So I'm going to leave you with that very funny, that funny little message, until the day she dies, which is never, as we know. So
Exactly. Exactly.
yeah,
That was awesome, Tammy. Can I give some feedback?
I would love it. Yeah, especially the friend
Hmm.
thing that I didn't quite understand, but
Hopefully I can remember everything now because that was long. Um, I had an older sister that died a few days before her 13th birthday. I was only 10 months old. She waited 13 years to get me, and she was just thrilled to have me. I can remember my mom telling me that, she played with me all the time, and she talked to me, and she sang with me, and she danced with me, and she was just thrilled to have me. She just thought it was the best thing in the world.
don't tell me how she passed, because I don't know.
I'm
Yeah,
not.
thank
And
you.
then when you were talking about the sticks, and you were saying 1, 2, 3, 4, and then cross, I think maybe I thought she was counting her birthdays, because my mom said after she passed, she found a calendar with things marked on the calendar and she never knew what it meant. And her birthday's this week.
Okay.
So
So
I
she's
think she's
counting down her
counting down
to her
to her
birthday.
birthday or counting her birthdays. That's the feeling I got. I'm not for
Yeah.
sure.
Okay.
But with the pyramid that you were saying, when we were in Lilydale, we bought this little crystal that was called a golden healer. And I was just looking at one this week that was a pyramid. And I said, oh, that would be nice to have and just set like wherever I'm doing meditation or readings or whatever. So that makes sense. When you talked about the daisy in the beginning, she loved daisies. I have a picture of her sitting on the ground holding the daisy. The spiky flower would be the lavender. I have those. They're all just sprouting up and they're like pointy. So I think she's talking about that. I was working in my new garden this morning, and I was thinking about even putting daisies in front of there and different flowers and water, like a waterfall of some type or something to do with water. Um, as kids, yes, I can remember filling up the balloons from the hose with the water and throwing them. But she had already been gone at that point. So I think all through our life, she watched me and watched the siblings, you know. The farm is close to me. I went for hay rides there with some friends. Um, I have a handyman that works at that farm, and I was just thinking about him this morning, saying maybe I could have him come back over and do some more things for me. And there was something else that was significant.
Sally, what the name Sally?
Oh, that's one of my favorite clients that has come. And I was thinking of her this morning. I'm like, well, she'll probably be calling me this week and she's going to be blown away at the difference that's over here, you know?
Okay, okay.
So yeah,
Thanks so
she's been
much.
with me for a long time. Yeah.
Thanks, Rainey. Yeah, thanks
You're
for
welcome.
that.
That was awesome. It was nice to hear from her and remind me that her birthday is this week.
Oh, wow. Okay. Does her birthday, let's see, we are in June. Does her birthday,
Yeah, today's the
does her
21st.
birthday have a 5 in it? I wonder if that's part of it.
24th or 25th. I have to look it up. I can't remember. It's either the 24th or the 25th.
I wonder if it's 25th, because I did actually ask for numbers. Like when I set my intention today, I was like, okay, names and numbers.
Yeah,
So,
I'll look it up. I'll look it up and see if I can.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow. Great job, Tammy. All right. Now I'm going to throw something out to you and ask your thoughts on this, because right at the very beginning of your reading, you said, I feel like I've talked to this spirit before. And I wondered what our YouTube audience would say about that. Like, you know, would they look at that and say, well, if you know that person, then, you know, why are you talking to them? You know, or like, is it cheating? Okay, I guess is my question. So, can you explain to our YouTube audience the ethics of bringing in somebody who you've already met in the
Yes,
spirit
yes, I
world?
can.
Okay.
Usually, we if there's anything that you know about the person for whom you are reading, ethically you should say so. So if something comes up, you would say, but I know this about you already. You know, this is coming through, but I know this about you already. So you need to lay that out so that it's not something new that that you remember. And that we have found, especially in our group, because we work together a lot, that spirit comes through, and because there are different facets to every human experience, the human being, different facets of the person, that they can come through and we can totally not recognize the same spirit who was there a week earlier, because they're bringing in a different aspect of themselves. Could be a different time period in their life. It could be their shadow side, could be their lighter side. And so they can really work with us actually in that way by showing us different information. And what else was I going to say about that? Oh, and that it's kind of like, say you went to a party and you saw somebody across the room, and you wouldn't say, oh, I've met them before, I'm definitely not walking over and talking to them. Because I've met them before. Right? You would
Right.
say, oh, I talked to them before, they were so much fun, I have to go over and talk again. And it's kind of like that, because we do get to know them, because their personalities are much the same as when they left. And so we get to know them. I mean, I don't know everything about them because, I haven't spent that much time with them, but you remember certain aspects of them, just like you would somebody you met and talked to, and you'd say, oh, that's right, I remember you're the one who had that great vacation, in New Orleans, or something. And but you might not know other things about them. And so it's much the same, like, oh, I remember they were really fun. They're a fun personality. And, these water balloons would kind of show me that again, but it's something different that I wouldn't have known. And so I would say, ethically, it's okay as long as you're always putting it out there, and to anybody else listening, I know this person already and I know this about them, so that everything's all transparent. So that's my feeling.
Okay. And I'll add to that because I would certainly hope as a sitter that my loved ones would come in more than once. That's what I want. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I have loved ones who will always come in with one specific identifier. Okay. And I'm not going to say what it is because I don't want to, well, okay, I'll say what one of them is fish. Okay. So I'll have somebody come in and they want to talk about fishing. Okay. So that lets me know who is there. But then the medium inevitably brings me in different information beyond fishing. Okay. There's just one piece of evidence, that the medium may have heard before, but it's the rest of the rest of the information that makes the reading interesting for me. Do you feel the same way, Shore? What's your experience?
Yeah, they always bring something new. I don't know how they remember. But so since we practice, as Tammy said, so oftenly, um, even if they come a couple times, it's not enough to reveal their whole life. They have lived whole life with all those good memories. So they're giving a snippet of information that
Okay.
we would not know. Yeah, but I agree that if you know something, you can still say that because they want that information to be repeated because it's important for some people to know or to remind them.
Okay. All
Yep.
right. What's your thoughts, Rainey?
I agree. Sometimes they come in more than once in a session. I've had sessions where almost everybody in the circle brought through my brother when he passed. And each reading was different, and each reading had different evidence, and each one gave me an insight or a memory of something that we did together that I may have forgotten. And that just enlightened me that the sitter may have brought him through in the past, but they can bring through different evidence, and sometimes they remember them, sometimes they don't remember anything. And as they start, they're like, oh, would this be your brother? Because I know I've worked with him before, but I don't remember, what I had said. So there's different aspects of it and different just different evidence and just different memories that they bring through, even though they have brought them through before or talked to them, because some memories or some people that come through, I remember them. Some I don't have any recollection of them whatsoever.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Well,
All right. Let's try for another reading. Who wants to go next?
I can step up.
Go ahead. Thank you.
I think I may be with Shore, but all of you listen. I'm being shown a gentleman, and he's just bringing significance to a bow tie. And I'm going to just ask you, Shore, do you understand a bow tie with a man that has passed around you being significant?
Possibly.
Okay. He's also showing a man with a real short trim beard. Would you understand that?
Yeah, I'll have to think about that.
Okay. So I'm showing a man with short trim beard. There's some significance to him dressing up or having a liking for a bow tie, because I see a white shirt, I see a bow tie, I see a suit jacket on him. And so this is kind of prominent with him. Either when he got dressed up or an event they always knew that he was going to have a bow tie on. So this is significant. Would you understand that?
Not, it's
Not
not
really?
resonating very strongly yet.
Okay. Okay. Let me check with the girls and see if they would understand a man with a bow tie. That would be very significant.
I'm listening.
Okay.
Okay.
What aspects of it do you understand, Carol?
I understand the bow tie, white shirt, suit jacket. Okay.
Okay.
I do not understand the beard. And I think
Okay.
Tammy may be in on this too.
Oh, geez.
No, I think I'm
Oh.
probably not there because there's somebody I knew that always wore bow ties, but I can't place who it is.
Okay. Yeah, because this is real. That was the main thing he showed me first before anything, this bow tie. So let me continue and see what else he has to say. There's also something he's bringing through, like about a circus, too. Would either of you understand circus?
I do.
Okay, then, Carol, I am with you.
Okay.
Oh, I'm like, circus. I'm
Yeah.
like, give me the word that would show me that they would understand this. So yeah, circus. Okay. And he's jumping up and down. He's also shown me with a pail of water. Would you understand a pail of water with something like either him throwing it at somebody or doing it as a joke? A pail of water, like he was going to throw it on someone or do something with it.
Not yet. I'm
No,
curious.
okay,
So,
because he's talking about this pail of water and he's just laughing. Like, I feel like he's also like a jokester too. Would you
yes,
understand that?
I do.
Okay. Um, he's just really upbeat. Um, I feel like he may have passed with something with his chest, or lungs. Would you understand that? Because I'm
I don't
feeling a
remember.
heaviness in his chest.
I'll have to look. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Because I'm feeling a heaviness in his chest. Um, would you have known him to have some deep sorrow in his life towards the end of his life?
Yes.
Okay. That's kind of what he's showing me. I also feel like someone close to him passed and he was really having a difficult time dealing with that. Would you understand that?
I don't know.
Okay. But he is telling me about this deep sorrow that really gave him a heavy heart, is what he's telling me. Um, he's going like, okay, enough of that. Let's get back to the happy times. I feel like most of the time he was like pretty positive and I'm feeling like a lot of people around him supported him and loved him and cherished him. Would you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. And he said, that's what life's all about, supporting each other through the good times and the bad times. And he goes, I had a lot of good friends that I could lean on. And he showed me putting his shoulder like up on, or his elbow up on your shoulder and lean it over like you were friends with him. Would you understand being friends with him too?
Actually not.
Not okay, but he's saying leaning on people. So there may have been times when he leaned on you or leaned on others, but
Leaned
he was
on
saying,
others. Leaned
okay,
on others. Yeah.
he said, leaning on others, there was always somebody there to help me.
Yeah.
Let me see what else. I know you're in music. Would he also have had a liking for music or listening or playing music?
Yep.
Because he's showing me music, like musical notes, and they're just like flying through the air. So he's telling me of interest of music with him. I feel like there was a love of the outdoors with him too. He just he loved nature. He just simple. Would you understand that with him too?
I do.
Okay. He's kind of a basic guy, is what he's saying. Um, it didn't take a lot to make him happy. He was okay with you know, just going out and strolling through nature. He's actually shown me at one point just picking a piece of like grass and putting it in his mouth and just holding at it between his lips. He loved the country. Would he also have played an instrument? He's shown me with an instrument, or else he's showing me you playing an instrument.
That might be me.
Okay. Because he's shown me, you know, I don't know what it is. Like, it's small and it's stringed. I don't know if it's a violin or not, but he's showing me that. He's just showing me that. So I don't know if it was him or you that he's shown me that played it. Let's see what he has to say. It's for you playing it. And what he is saying, with your music, he's really emotional. He's showing me and I don't know about music. He's showing me the lines for music where the notes are. He
Right.
said, but between the notes, there's so much love. There's so much joy that you bring to others. He said, I don't think you realized that then, and I don't think you still realize that. But in between the music, in between the notes, you bring so much love and so much joy to so many people with your music. I was inspired by you, and I'm just still overjoyed with your music to the degree that you play and to those notes. They're carried into the universe. It brings throughout the world a peace. It's almost like when you throw a stone into the water and you see a ripple. It's a ripple effect. When you listen to your music, you can't be mad. You can't be sad. He said, it's just so uplifting. It just brings everybody together on a joyful note, is what he's saying. And with those words, I'm going to leave him with his love and light and thank him for coming in. He's such a beautiful, wonderful man. And thank you for taking him.
Oh, my, Renee. Thank you. All right. You have any idea who this might be?
No.
Pee Wee Herman. Okay, so to give you some background, okay, back in the 80s, I watched Pee Wee's Playhouse every Saturday morning. Okay,
Oh my
and I
God.
would not move from the TV, and it was funny because it was supposed to be a children's show, but it was actually so adult that I would have tears streaming down my face and saying, "My God, I can't believe parents are letting their kids watch this," you know,
Oh no.
because it was so funny. Okay, but recently I got my hands on a boxed set of DVDs of every one of Pee Wee's shows. Okay, been watching them, literally binged watched about 5 of them yesterday afternoon. All right,
Oh my
I
gosh.
I pulled Mark in, okay, and I said, just look at this. I said, because this is not a kid's show. And he started watching it. And we were looking at like all the really, really famous people that were on that show. Okay, you know, like uh, Lawrence Fishburne, okay, was a recurring character, as was Phil Hartman, the Saturday Night Live comedian. Jimmy Smits
Okay.
was on there. Okay, I mean, you know, he had a whole A-list of people who came
Wow.
onto his show. All right, and so you know, when you're talking about the circus, Okay, well, the whole thing, with the Playhouse was a bit of a circus, being a jokester, very upbeat, this kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
You asked about the passing, okay, with
Uh-huh.
you said there was something wrong with the chest, and I
Uh-huh.
honestly did not know the cause of his death, okay, but he had cancer that caused acute respiratory failure. Okay, so you were right on the chest. I didn't even know
Uh-huh.
that. Okay. You talked about the deep sorrow, and I assume
Mhm.
that was his fall from grace. Okay. You
Okay.
know,
Okay.
okay. Although it's interesting because now they put out a documentary about him. Okay. And they in this documentary, I haven't seen it yet, but supposedly they're just showing like what a wonderful man he was. Okay. And he was very much, you talked about being into nature. Okay. And he was very much into like gardening and bonsai and things like this.
I
Okay.
didn't know.
No,
This is so interesting.
perfectly serious. Okay. All right. And music, obviously, okay, like, he was actually into jazz, and I don't know if you ever saw Pee-wee's Playhouse, but he had like little puppets that were like a jazz band in the
Oh, I didn't see
playhouse.
that. No. Oh my gosh, this
Oh
is
yeah,
so
yeah. And he would
cute.
go over, and talk to the puppets and go, "Yeah, man," like this to them, you know. Yeah. So So I am beyond honored that Pee Wee would come in and visit me because Paul
Oh,
Rubens actually was his
his
name.
message
Okay.
was so heartfelt to you. I could just feel him just sending you love, and just the words that he was saying was like, wow.
And that just makes me choke up. It really does because I have so much admiration for that man, because when I looked
Oh,
at the scope of his talent, number one, and then number two, what he got away with on prime time,
I'm
he got
glad
a
you
right
say that
to
because
say,
my kids were into it big time, and I also liked it. And like, being so young, I don't think they understood some of the things he said, and I'd be like, "Whoa!" Just like you said, like, how to get away with that, you know? And then he go, and then beyond, you
I
know?
know, I know, I
Wow,
know.
I would have never thought it was him. I should have asked him, see if he can give
Yeah,
me a
yeah.
name.
Well, the bow tie,
Yeah,
the
I
white
know, like
shirt and the suit.
here with bow tie. I'm like, no, you're showing me it's the bow tie and the white shirt, and I'm like, I think it was a red bow tie. It was,
It was
and
a red bow tie,
was
yes.
it red bow
Yes.
tie and a white shirt? And he kept showing me this bow tie and a white shirt. And I'm like, what? And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'll say it.
Okay. All right. So now Reenie, okay, I'll throw this out to the group actually. Okay, but Reenie, okay. So here's somebody who actually I never met in life. Okay. But who I am a profound fan of, and I am so honored that he would come in and speak to me. Okay. I know this was a mediumship connection and not a psychic connection because you actually told me how he died. Okay, which I didn't
I
know.
didn't know.
I had to go look that up. Okay. All right. So obviously you were speaking with Pee Wee. Do you have any idea of like why would Pee Wee like how does that work? Okay. Like if you don't actually know the person, you have any thoughts on that?
My thought is we're all connected, and we may not think it, but we are. And even though that the two of you never met, you're connected by heartstrings, you're connected by soul, you're connected by your thoughts. And because you were so thrilled with what he did
Mhm.
and did love him, he could feel that. And especially when you pass, now you can see from the other side through the veil things that we didn't see or understand, we now see and understand. So he's watching you the way you watched him. So you could be like on a TV screen to him, and he's watching you, and he's thrilled with your music. So because you were thrilled with what he did and made you laugh and smile, he wanted you to know what makes his heart happy and how you're bringing such joy to the world. You
Oh,
know, just the peace in that. I remember one time coming to see you at Christmas time, I was blown away. So if I was blown away, I could imagine how he's feeling watching you from the heavenly realm, thinking,
oh,
gosh, look at this angel on earth. She's playing music for everyone. He's just giving me chills as I'm saying this now. And here comes a butterfly. Oh my gosh. And so he's just thrilled with your music.
oh my
Any
God.
stuff that goes out to the universe. And know that you're sending blessings throughout the world and trying to keep the peace here, he's saying.
Oh my God. Fantastic.
Laughing. You know that silly laugh he had?
Yeah, that dorky laugh. Yeah. Yeah.
He just laughed.
My God. Well, thank you, Reedy. Well, what's your thoughts on it, Tammy? What do you think about like Pee Wee Herman showing up here?
Oh, I just think it's so cool. I mean, I did have a little bit of an experience like that then led to learning that we were actually related, like the person that came in who was a very big celebrity. And I did a reading and she came through for this other medium that I was practicing with. And I really didn't know who it was. And she kept kind of acting like she knew, but yet the information I was giving, it was it was such a funky experience. But she I went later to then verify some of the information. I went and looked it up, and she had given me like, lace, and the medium said, I don't know about the lace, but I said, well, she's showing me lace, and then she showed me different kind of the style she was and who she looked like, and so later I went and looked, and everything was, what had come through. But then I still, as we do, still as mediums, which blows my mind, we still doubt sometimes, don't we?
Mhm.
So I sat in meditation and I said, to prove that it is you, tell me something I don't know. And I said, how tall were you? And she told me 5'7". And I said, what was the most difficult thing you had to go through in your life? And she told me. And I went and looked it up online, and she was 5'7". And she talked about her son who had had an addiction. So it was an illness, and how, and then as I looked a little further, suddenly it just jumped out at me, and it said that her mother came from the elder John Crandall, who was the original one to come over, to the U.S. But her mother was a descendant of Elder John Crandall, and I said, oh my gosh, we're related. And so the whole thing was just this amazing story that still kind of stays with me, and how it just kept but it was almost like reading a great book, because I just kept being given like little bits of information as I would look. And so it was like reading each chapter, and it was just got more and more exciting as it went. And so, it's the magic. It's the magic in the universe, right?
Wow.
Yes, it is. That was truly magical. I loved it.
I
Wow.
won't say who it is in case she comes in.
Yeah, don't say who it is. Well, sure. Have you ever had an experience like this yourself?
I did. I did.
Tell us.
Good,
Tell
yes.
us. Share.
Yeah, without taking too much time, one time Michael Jackson came.
Oh,
No
wow.
kidding. How
Uh,
did you know it was Michael?
I
Were you the
did.
medium? I should
Yeah,
say.
I was a medium, so I was
Okay.
reading, and I described him as the dancing nature, break dancing, even in the streets when he was younger. Um, because I love this guy. I still kind of mourn his
Oh yeah.
passing.
that was sad.
That was a waste of life. But this lady took him, and she told me that it was Michael Jackson. because she knew him through another friend. She met him through another friend.
No kidding.
So this was just mind-blowing. I didn't realize during the reading that I'm reading Michael Jackson, but the things that I described to her about him, she took all that information.
It's Celebrity Day on the Evidential Mediumship Channel.
That's right.
This is pretty cool.
Awesome. That is so awesome.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Oh, that's
Oh my
great.
gosh.
You never know. You never know
You
who
don't. You don't.
can show
Yeah,
up.
that was
Yeah.
awesome.
But at least I had this inner heart connection, as Rini said. If you have the heart connection, you
Yeah.
are connected.
Oh, that's marvelous.
Wow.
Oh gosh, what a great day.
Yeah.
All right, sure, are you feeling it?
Yes, yes. I feel I have a father coming in, but he's not coming in for himself. He wants to bring in somebody connected to you. And it's a young male person who would have passed before his time. And it's a sudden passing. This young kid feels like in his mid 20s, around 26. Your passing certainly is very sudden. This young guy was a charm, very, very charming, very loving to be around. And I'm kind of hearing from the father that you will get a kick out of this guy coming in the reading. So I feel this kid may not have come before in readings. So can anybody understand this? Father and
Understand everything except the age.
okay.
I'm listening as well. Sure, I can understand. I can understand it so far. Yeah, and the age.
Okay, great. Thank you. Somehow I'm not sensing a bond. This is something which is not very clear to me. I'm not sensing a very strong family bond with this young kid. Would that make sense?
Yes.
But he's like brotherly. Would that make sense?
Yeah.
I would understand brotherly too.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. How did this happen? How did this happen? How could he be gone just like that? So the kid himself is so shocked. I feel he has done this before and never ever thought this could happen to him. He's not a bad person. But occasionally, recreational drugs, just to uplift, just to try. I feel there's something he took which never affected him before, but this time, this combination of things would lead to his passing so suddenly, so at young.
I'm going to step out. I can't take any of that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay. Something, would you understand something sudden happened to him?
Yes, and I actually there are now two people I'm thinking of and both it would have been sudden.
Okay.
Oh, I can take all of this for someone else, and it was drugs, and it was around that age. Yes, I understand that.
Okay.
Yeah, for
Still
someone
need
else.
to, still need to separate out.
Ooh.
He did have a girlfriend.
Yes,
Um, I'm kind of sensing there was a kid on the way.
that I don't know.
Okay. I'm sensing a young girl in his life that, yeah,
Hmm.
a young girl connected to him. Would that make sense to anyone?
I would understand the younger girl, but not a baby.
Okay. Yeah, she's like 4, 5. Yeah, yeah, 3, 4, 5 years old. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, okay. Just a smart kid. This guy was really smart, and I feel he had a good job that he was very proud of, and the company was proud of him to have him. Would you understand something with financial aspects? The company was. It's
Don't
just
remember.
it's it's just well-to-do company, and they were just lucky to have him, and he felt the same, but he did not uh, give it $1 or something, not a damn. So does that resonate?
Not for me. No, I mean, I don't know, actually. I would say I don't know.
Okay,
No, I don't know that aspect either.
okay, I'll continue. So he certainly visited your family, visited you, and you were very impressed. His his talkative nature, his knowledge, and the cleverness, the astuteness, wittiness. This guy was just incredibly witty. Do I have a separation here?
Yeah, that for me, I don't believe that would work. No.
Okay,
Yeah.
Rainy.
That I don't know either.
Okay, you still don't know. Okay.
Mhm.
You do understand the dad
Yes.
figure, dad. Um, Come on, you guys. That's what he's saying about this kid. You know this. You know this information. Hmm. yeah, this shock was certainly big, but somehow father, he was not shaken too much. I don't feel the father had. I mean, he felt this loss, but he was not that emotional type person. Uh, and it's because of his nature, the way he was brought up, the way his job was. So I'm talking about father here. Would the father make sense?
I'm not understanding this. I'm gonna stop.
Okay, all right.
Well, I could see how that would be because the father was actually also in spirit.
Ah, you might go with Tammy.
Okay. And you would understand the father was well-to-do and he held a high-level job.
I believe he did when he was at some point, in that. Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. All right. There was one trip that you would have taken. It's not like going long distance. It feels like a short car trip that you would have taken in. It's just the impression that's coming up is the smartness of this guy. I mean, he was not trying to impress you or anybody. It was his nature. Um, but he was like a higher soul. I mean, he talked about things that would be out of the ordinary. Things for his age would be it would not be normal. The things that he talked about. So again, this wittiness,
Is that for the son or the father?
this is for the son. I'm sorry, I switched.
Okay. I don't know. I'm sorry, I wouldn't know.
Okay. Yeah, he brought this short trip car ride where you would have shared for a brief time. Okay, so
I could understand that with the son,
okay,
that I would have taken that with him.
okay, so that's it. So I'm with you, Tammy.
I think so, but I was going back and forth between one father son and the other father son.
Okay.
Wow.
So element of the surprise, the father, he- the way he brought it up in the beginning of this reading. Would you understand this element of surprise of this young kid coming in? Would you know if he
Yeah,
had come before?
come into our circle or come in.
Yeah, not necessarily to this circle, but in any circle. There's some surprise element for him to come. I thought this could be the first time he's coming.
This would be the first time for either of the two I'm thinking of.
Okay, all right. So that's
Yeah.
feeling. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see a quick message. Yeah, I'm trying to get a message from father, but somehow he's pushing me to the kid. So I'm just getting, oh well, oh well, from the kid. Things happen, but there is a way to remember person. Would you understand if flowers left our flowers a plant in his memory? I don't feel a tree, but a plant. Uh, are planting memories of him. And what beautiful would it be to plant in nature a plant a plant in nature for his memory.
Okay, so now I'm thinking of a third father son
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
that would work for
Okay, so you can take the message with
the third. Yeah.
oh, but can you take all the other information that came through the third one?
Gosh, let me think of now the different. I've kind of forgotten what the different things were. Uh,
Sudden pass in
yeah, kind of. Yeah, it would be kind of sudden, unexpected. It would be unexpected to have been so quick, to have happened so fast.
very smart person.
Very smart. Yeah, very smart. I'm sorry, I wasn't taking notes.
Around 26.
No, actually, that would not fit at all.
Ah, okay.
No, not for them. So, yeah, the other two I was thinking of, one would have been like my generation, and it would have been when I was much younger, and he passed suddenly, and I don't know. He may have had some drinks, but he actually had a heart condition, even though he had it since he was born. And so they knew that he wasn't going to live to an old age, but then he walked out of a place and just dropped dead. So it would have been a surprise.
Wow.
I didn't really know his father, but he's the one I took the short car ride with.
Okay. All
And
right.
then I thought, oh, then there's the other father son. The father is in spirit, and the son then passed in a really freak accident. So that was very sudden. And the father would have been fit what you said about a kind of a higher profile job. Um, yeah, so I just wasn't sure which of those,
Ah, okay.
which one,
Well,
yeah,
maybe they'll come next time
yeah,
to clear that up.
yeah.
But
And they would have been, either one of them would have been kind of first timers.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna stop here, leave you with their love and blessings.
Thank you so much. Sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is good because we've never had the opportunity to talk about this on this channel. Okay, and that is managing multiple spirits. Okay, and I know that beginning mediums always struggle with this because they think it's the same person talking. There's one person. Okay. But during your reading, sure, you actually said the father says this, the son said this. How did you know who said what? What made you understand the difference? Okay. I want to hear from
Yes.
everybody on this, but we're going to start with Shore because this is an ongoing problem for beginning mediums.
Yes. So the first person that comes in, you place them, or they come at a particular place. For me, it's a GPS or family tree. So I know this person is located, the father is located right above you. And then he brought somebody from the side. So this young kid. So I kept them separate. So I was turning my focus to father if I wanted to focus on father, or the son that if I wanted to get the information. So, so that keeping them separate would help getting the information coming from individual specifically. Yeah, you had to keep them separate. Otherwise, yeah, it could be confusing.
All right, but in order to do that, you're saying that you were basically using a mind map and paying attention to what side, okay? And for the benefit of our YouTube audience, there's, a theory in mediumship that if they come in on one side, they're from the paternal side. If they come in on another side, they're from the maternal side, and there's all kinds of derivations on that. You actually have to go and look to see what works for you. But this is the way that it works for sure, okay? Because he sees in his mind map which direction these people are coming from. And then he realizes that he has more than one. But now, Tammy, do you operate the same way when you have more than one spirit?
Yeah, I actually just had this with a client a couple of days ago, and it was and how I could tell the difference is that the first one that came in was very talkative and very kind of up and happy, and then all of a sudden I thought, whoa, and there was like this shift, this energy shift, and at first I said, I must have two people, or maybe at first I said, oh, and then she had this other side to her. But then as I said that, I thought, I may have two people here. I think I have two people here because it was just such a contrast.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly they kind of separated because I also have a mind map it sounds like it's a little different than Shore's how it works, but suddenly like she moved over to the other side and it turned out I had the maternal grandmother who came in all happy and then I had the stern paternal grandmother on the other side. And so it suddenly became very clear who was who. So
Okay.
it just depends, but sometimes it's really hard to tell. You really have to keep going to, try, especially if they're close, like similar personalities, then you're like,
Yeah.
you have to try to get like a tiebreaker, show me something that would really separate you, what color you liked to wear more than any other color or anything.
I love the tiebreaker. Okay. All right. What about you, Rini? What do you do when you get two people in at the same time?
Well, sometimes when I get two, sometimes I get six, and they're like lined up and they usually take turns, talking. Sometimes two will talk at the same time. And I'm like, okay, guys, one has to be silent for a little bit so I can hear you. So I see them and I hear them. And then the next one will start talking and I will see and hear them so I can differentiate that way, seeing them and hearing them.
Okay. All right. That's good advice. And then I'll throw my 2 cents in here too. Okay. There's a very famous English medium named Mavis Patilla who has since passed on. Okay. And Mavis's theory about this was that you can identify a change in spirit because they'll communicate to you in different ways. Okay. So let's say spirit number one, you'll hear, spirit number two, you'll see. And the problem that I personally have is that sometimes I just don't pay attention to the change and I don't realize that they're communicating in different fashions. Okay. And so I have to go back and kick myself and say, okay, the information's coming in on a different, and clair is the word. Okay. They'll come in on a different clair in mediumship for me. So okay, I'm going to see if I can grab a spirit real quick. So let me see what I can pull in here. Ta-da. All right, Rini, I think I may have your mom here, but if everyone would listen, I would appreciate it. Okay. And I know that I've talked about your mom before I've met her, okay, on the other side, but she's coming in with information that I've never heard before. Okay. if this is your mom. Okay. And that is, did your mom have really great legs?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm hearing Betty Grable legs. Okay.
But all the girls got them.
Okay. All right. So
Mom.
she wants she's here in kind of a kind of like a I'm hot mood. Okay. So
Gosh, funny.
and yeah, and she's talking so she's wearing shorts that show off these fabulous legs, and I agree she's got
Yeah.
great legs. Okay.
Mhm.
Um okay. So I'm just going to say it for all the world to hear.
Oh no, Mom. So embarrassing.
So, was your father particularly fond of her Betty Grable legs?
Yes.
Okay, because what
Yeah.
she's telling me is that you know, that is what it first attracted your father to her. Okay, was these fabulous legs that she's got. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to stop and ask your permission for this because this is a public setting. All right. Um, she's actually talking about their relationship. Is it okay if I talk
Yeah.
about this?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Keep it plain, Mom.
Okay. Well, she's talking about their early relationship. Okay. Like when they first met,
Mhm.
and and so what she's and I have to laugh because like this is the kind of thing I'm not sure you ever want to hear from your mother. But
It's getting worse than what she told me right before she passed.
okay, all right. So so basically what she's telling me is like they had um an intense physical connection initially.
Yes, they
Would you
did. Yeah.
understand the intense physical connection
Yeah.
initially?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Yep.
right. Okay. So she's saying that that's important to have in a
Yep.
relationship. Okay. Okay. She is kind of blunt and bawdy in her delivery here. Okay. And so what she's saying is if that connection had not been there, she would have booted his at the door.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
Okay.
Mom.
All right. So she's taking no prisoners. Okay. When it comes to, you know,
Oh my
uh,
gosh.
making sure that she was happy. All right. Um, but she's saying that she fell for him fast and he fell for her fast. It was a
Yeah.
quick
Yeah.
relationship. Okay. All right. Um, and I'm also hearing a quicker wedding too. I'm hearing like, you know, this was not like an engagement that went on for 2 years. They were married and, you know, she's giving me 6 months, but you
Yeah.
know,
I don't remember how long it was, but
okay.
they got married shortly after they.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Yeah, it's a short period here.
Yeah.
Um, okay. So she's talking about the happiness that they had in
Mhm.
the early days of their marriage.
Mhm.
Okay. And she's saying that your father was not didn't see what's the word that I want? Okay, didn't see kind of like eye to eye on her with respects to um spirituality. Okay, would you understand this? That they um you know that they weren't quite she was more the religious person than he was. That makes
Yes.
sense. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. And she literally regarded the babies as being gifts from God. All right.
Yes.
She wanted all those babies baptized. Okay.
Yes.
Whereas she said he wouldn't have cared. Okay.
Right.
All right. Saying that he wouldn't have cared, but she insisted. Okay.
Yeah.
She's confessing to a little bit of superstition, okay, about the fact that she was raised in a very rigid religious environment where if you didn't baptize children um, and they died, okay, that they would go to hell, okay, before, if you didn't get them baptized immediately. Okay, would you understand that about her? That being a
Not, yes, but not how a place called limbo.
yeah, okay, all right, but yeah, but they would not go to heaven, and this is why she was
Right.
so rigid about.
Yes.
She's saying that you don't think God would do that.
No. No.
Okay,
No,
so
no.
you and she don't see eye to eye on that. All right. God would not do that to a baby, is what she's saying about you.
Right.
And it's funny because like she's using the term popping up babies, okay? And then as she says the term popping up babies, she's showing me a toaster, okay? When with the toast, when the toaster pops up and the toast goes like this.
Yeah.
So, she's into funny imagery,
Yeah.
which is kind of neat. And she's saying that there's nothing on earth that compares to having a child and having that child love you. Okay, so having the children was very important to her.
Yeah.
She's talking about her father leaving. Okay, and she's saying that she wouldn't have thought it was possible to hate that man, but she did. Okay.
I think it points, yeah.
Yeah. She didn't think it was possible, but when he left and left her alone, um, she had trouble adapting to that. And then second of all, she wants to tell you that she's angry. Okay. She was angry at him because he forced her to change her feelings about him. Okay. And she
Yeah.
went into the relationship assuming, with the expectation, okay, that they would be together till death do us part, showing me the
Right.
wedding ring. Okay.
Right.
All right. And she went in with that expectation and he didn't live up to that and she never saw it coming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. She wants you to know that she's forgiven him. And so
Okay.
this is her message. Okay. She has forgiven him and she's kind of laughing about it. And she's saying, I didn't think it would ever happen. Okay. But what yeah, because she showed me there was a lot of bitterness on her part here.
Yes.
Okay. Um, she's saying that she didn't think that she was capable of forgiving him. But what she's saying is that when she went over to the other side, things that upset her here didn't matter anymore. They just did not matter. Okay. And what she's saying to you is that life is so vast, okay, that event that happened to her that she thought at the time um was so devastating. Okay. She said actually it's a bump on the road. Okay. All right. So wants you to know that she's forgiven your father for this. Okay. Um, she's she's she says that she kept her good legs when she moved over.
I think she did.
She likes them. Okay. She said she upgraded other spots.
Oh my God, she's hysterical.
Oh my gosh, I'm crying.
Mom.
Oh my gosh, she's funny. She's funny. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
But she kept her good legs. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And let's see what else she wants to say. And she's talking about your spiritual journey being different than hers. Okay.
Yeah.
And I guess at one point there was friction between you about that. That'd be correct.
I'm not sure about that, but there was definitely friction with us.
Okay. All right. There's friction here. And what she's saying about that is that um she wants to apologize to you for the friction. Okay. Um which what she's telling me is that she was trying to tell you how to run your life.
Yeah.
Okay. That be correct? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And she's apologizing for that. And she's saying, I realized in hindsight that I had no business trying to tell you how to run your life because it was your life. Okay.
Yes.
And she says, now I look at it and she says, I would be, and she's using a 4-letter word, okay, if, you tried to do the same to me and tell me how to run my life. So she's apologizing to you. Okay. And she's kind of stepping back now. So I'm going to leave you with her love and her great legs. Okay. And thank you for letting me serve spirit.
Oh my gosh.
So can I have some feedback?
Yes, you may, if I can remember everything now. She did have fabulous legs, and I can remember a picture from back in the 40s or 50s. She had like one of the old-fashioned bathing suits that had like little boy shorts on, and she had these long, fabulous legs, and she just looked like a movie star standing there, with these long legs, and you know, just always remembering her had nice legs, and she had 4 daughters that all had beautiful legs, and everybody would comment, we're like, well, we get them from our mom. you know so, so that was interesting. And you talked about um connecting romantically. They definitely were connected. They had 9 children, and I can remember when she got pregnant with one of my sisters, and we always knew she kept 2 outfits when she was pregnant. They were sailor dresses. One was red and one was blue. And we were all getting ready for church. And then she would get us all ready for church. And then she would go in and get ready. And she walked out on the porch and she had this blue sailor dress on. And I looked at her and I'm like, Mom, not again. Because at this point we had, I think, 5 or 6, and I'm like, oh my gosh. It's like, how many more babies are we having?
Oh my
So they
goodness.
were very attracted to each other. She was devastated when my father left. My father left because there was so much grief over the loss of my brother and sister. He just couldn't hold his shit together, basically. He turned to alcohol. He lost his job. He quit coming home. He quit supporting the family, and he just ended up taking off after my last baby sister was born. Um, he had left her at the hospital, and they said, "You have to come get your baby." Well, they kept my mom, and he brought the baby home and dropped her off at the neighbors. So no wonder my mom didn't want to forgive him for stuff that he did, and left her to raise 7 children by herself, and she lost the house and she was trying to work and support kids and feed kids. And I don't know how she ever did it. She ended up getting a nice little house, rented a little house for us, and then upgraded to another house that was a little bit bigger. So I have to give her kudos, but there were times when me and her did not see head to head, and we were just really knocking heads. And, I remember when she was passing, and, she had said to me, I just want you to know that you're your dad's birthday present. I'm like, oh, Mom, did you have to tell me that? So it surprised me that she's talking about all this. And then we were talking about spirituality and stuff, which she never really understood. And she's like, I wish I had more time to learn about this now. And she said, because I would like to see some of this from a different perspective, and then by that point we were really connected. So it was hard when she passed, but right away she started sending me all kind of symbols. So I think she believed in the spirituality after that, because she was really such a strict Catholic.
Oh gosh. Well, thank you.
And the
Thank you.
baptisms were significant too, because that was as important as a birth. She'd have a big, big event for that, getting the babies baptized and having the whole family there.
Yeah.
Very good job.
Yeah.
Good evidence.
Thank you.
Good evidence.
It was great to hear from her, really. So,
Yeah.
oh goodness. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and shut us down with a prayer, okay, since we're running over time here. So if everyone would join me, please. Holy Father, Mother God, thank you for allowing us to come together today in service of spirit. Thank you for the gift of mediumship that you've given us, and allow us to use this precious gift to help others who need your healing and love. Bless all of our friends and loved ones and protect them from sickness and harm. Bring joy into the lives of people who have sorrow, health into the lives of people who have illness, and abundance to the lives of people who have little. Thank you for the lessons that you've given us today, and help us to continue to build a relationship with you that is based on love and trust. And always, please help us to be the lights that change this world for the better. Amen. All right. YouTube audience, thanks for joining us today. Okay, and if you enjoyed what you saw here today, hit like and subscribe on the channel, and you'll get to see us every Saturday morning